Well, hey there. You're listening to the Blush Podcast, y'all. Hosted by the charming Kelly. Bless your heart. Why don't you grab your favorite boxed wine or crack open that nice cold beer? 'Cause you're gonna need it, honey.
Hello. That intro was from Dana Morris. It's just me today. Brandon had some things going on, so she's not able to join us. And Penny, of course, is still with her store. So it's just Kelly. And in a couple minutes, we're going to talk with Lexi Gray. She is an author of Motorcycle Club Dark Romance, and it's fantastic. So stay tuned. We're going to chat with Lexi coming up right now. Hello, everybody. We're with Lexi Gray. She is a dark romance author out of Alaska. Woo! And she specializes in motorcycle club romance and BDSM, which is both things that we love. And when you're not writing, you're always reading dark and dirty books, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yes. So hello, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm super excited to be here.
Okay, so our adult beverages, what do you have?
So I have a rum spiked lotus that has strawberry, orange, and pineapple.
Ooh, that sounds really good.
It is really good.
So, we usually do wine, but because it's summertime, like we did this last year, we had people give us their favorite summer cocktails to have. And I was going to do that. I got a whole bunch of good ones. And then today I was like, oh, I didn't buy any of the stuff. So I made my own. So I have it doesn't look like anything. It's a bubbly sparkling water. Do you have those there? Do you know what those are?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. And so I have the strawberry flavor. And then I added a little bit of triple sec and a bunch of vodka. So
Ooh, that actually sounds really good.
yeah. And it's nice and refreshing. And then I'm also like, oh, I'm drinking water too. It's great.
It's a liquid.
Yeah. So can you have a sip of your drink and do like a flavor profile?
Yeah. So it tastes very, like, you can taste the strawberry, you can taste the orange. It's like a hint of pineapple and then a fuck ton of rum.
That's amazing. That sounds so good. I actually had a bunch of rum like in my liquor cabinet, my bar area. I don't know. Both of
The
those
wet
sound,
bar.
Yeah. But I was like, I don't know what to put with it because I don't want to just do rum and Coke, but that sounds really good.
We love rum and Coke.
I do, but everybody does it. It's not
True.
that kind
Not
of like
original.
what you have. Seems kind of like a Mai Tai. Is that kind of like what Mai
Kinda.
Tai is rum?
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Yum.
Yeah, I went down to the coffee hut and I got a Lotus with all the stuff in it. And then I came back and I a splash of rum, just like till it filled the glass. And I was like, all right, sounds good.
Yeah. That's the way to do it.
Amen.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to do mine. I've had a few sips already. But
That's okay.
It's delightful. It tastes like it's a strawberry vodka tonic. But the strawberry's not super strong,
Yeah,
It's just a little bit there. It's good. It's very good. It's nice and refreshing. Yeah.
that's exactly how it should be. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's good.
I could drink that quickly.
I know,
so
just chug it real quick.
I know. Okay, so are you ready to jump in with our questions?
Let's do it.
Okay, so you have quite a few series that are motorcycle club series.
Yes, I write exclusively motorcycle.
Exclusively motorcycle?
Yes.
That's what when I was looking through, I was like, these are all different motorcycle clubs. So the one I read was Leather Dreams because it had like a huge variety of different sexualities. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And I was like, oh, this will be good for Pride Month. So that's why I did that one.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So all of your stuff is super dark and very BDSM heavy. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe your books in general, or if you want to focus on one series?
Yeah. So I am all about, so I'll kind of start with like a general background. So I got into reading when I was really young. I got into writing when I was really young, but I was reading books where they would center around BDSM, but they never talked about the safe practices. And so I wanted to be an author who was transparent in the fact that, BDSM isn't just about like fun. It's about control. It's about power. It's about that dynamic and how to safely have that dynamic. And I grew up in a motorcycle club, and so I understand the dynamic of it. And so I tried to write other things, but my brain just almost like the gears didn't have any oil on them. And so I couldn't write without that motorcycle element. That's kind of how I started writing Motorcycle Club. And then, like I said, BDSM is just all about that dynamic and that power. And I really enjoy knowing and understanding those dynamics and being able to also show readers that even though it is fiction, of course, it's like exclusively fiction with bits and pieces of the world elementally scattered.
Mm-hmm.
It's still necessary to have those safe practices and that control. And you read Leather Dreams. And so it talks about how her dom had misused her and created a negative space for her. And so it was kind of the open area to show that like it's not all necessarily negative in terms of, BDSM.
Yeah, that was actually two of the things that I really appreciated was I did not grow up in a motorcycle club, but I've read I've read other books, like motorcycle books, and I feel like they're just like, oh, dude on a motorcycle, that's hot. And then they don't like know anything. And so like as I was reading it, I was like, she has to have firsthand experience with this because like it's so detailed and so like insightful into like how they work. And so I was like, she's got it. And all the like slang and everything. Like I was like, she has to have some sort of knowledge. And also with the BDSM dynamics, I really appreciated because there's so many books that I'm like, this is just, and yes, we know it's a book, it's entertainment, but not people will read it and think this is how it works.
Yes.
And I really liked how you portrayed it in here and explaining like, the control and, the scene where she's scening with Charles. And it it was just explained so well with how everything works and how both of them think, how a dom and a sub would think and react and, feel and all of the things. I was just like, ooh, this is great. I loved it.
Yeah, and it's so important to capture that even like off page, a dom and a sub have to have nonverbal communication and they have to be able to read body language. And so with Charles and Leather, it was really about her seeing him and understanding him and the dynamic. And she obviously was in his position at one point. And so her being able to see that he is maybe edging on yellow instead of green, which yellow means like slow down. And so she was just constantly checking in on him. And I think it's so important because even like I've had readers tell me about pornography and how it's not appropriately captured in there either. And I'm like, but we think back to general elements of fiction. They're not going to have all that in there like a proper BDSM book would.
Right.
And they're like, well, when me and my partner are like watching it, and I'm like, but you have to remember it is still fiction. But that's why you read my books, because I help, although I preface very, very heavily that it's not educational, it does show that there can be that healthy dynamic. And you can learn, we'll use heavy quotes on that, how to be able to show at least a safe space in that dynamic.
Yeah, I appreciated that too in your intro that you're like, listen, this is not. But yeah, I think it's important to show, like, to put a spotlight on how you do have to have all of that trust and be able to communicate. Like the big thing I'm always on everybody about in all situations about communicate.
Yes.
And it just, I think it, while it is, yes, like a fictional story, I think it really spotlights a lot of the good in BDSM where people just think, oh, this is an abusive relationship, or this is just all about pain, and it's not.
No,
that
not
at
even
all.
close.
So
no.
Hooray. So we sort of talked about, because you have experience with motorcycle clubs, but how did you come up with the idea for your stories? But you sort of touched on that, unless you want to expand a little bit.
So a lot of my plots actually wrap around child trafficking. And so we have our morally gray men with a purpose. And so they have a purpose to kill. And I wrap that around because I think it's so important, as somebody who sees the negatives on the day-to-day, to highlight that you don't realize that these things happen until somebody brings it to light. And actually, I was just in Vancouver for the Hot and Steamy signing, and so many people were just like, it's not something we think about in child trafficking. And I love to bring light to heavy topics, and I'm all about being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so I personally love bringing that element into it. And because it's, how do I explain this? People just don't understand that it can happen to anybody.
Right.
And so when I started writing about it, I was like, this is my niche. I mean, my Muggle job is something very similar to what the storyline does. And so I'm like, it's both able to vent, and it's giving morally gray men the space to be able to kill these predators. And I don't know if that made any sense, but it did in my head.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it did. I also like that they are like, the beginning of Catacombs.
It works.
In the intro there, how you were like, they're the heroes, but they don't have any redeeming qualities or whatever, it's
right.
I always like the bad guys anyway, so
yeah,
it makes me happy. So along with that, how did you come up with the ideas for your characters? Are they sort of like, do you have inspiration from real life, or are you just like, this would be a good character to have, or what do you do?
Oh man, I really make them up on the fly. Or I'll see, like for Prez, for example, in Leather Dreams, I saw him in my head. I knew what I wanted him to act like. And then this was before I did leather. So for my MMCs, they wrap around my FMC. So I guess let me backtrack a little bit. I start with my FMCs. I'm like, who do I want them to be? Do I want them to be meek? Do I want them to be strong? Do I want them to be somewhere in between? And then from there, I build on to their little arcs. I build who do they become? And then I kind of do that based on also like, I'm so tired of seeing like the meek female. I love it. But at the same time, I want a woman that knows what she wants, is not afraid to step out there and get what she wants. She's going to kick ass. She's going to take names, and she'll, pew pew if you're not going to give her what she wants. And that's the kind of empowerment that I want to put out into the world. And so a lot of my FMCs are very, very strong. I have a few that are kind of on the meeker side, but just because not every female is strong. So totally understand that. Just personally, I think, I will say that a lot of my characters, I think, are also little, like my FMCs are also little extensions of me, because a lot of their trauma is a lot of my trauma. And so like in Viridian Vault, we have Irene, and that comes out June 19th. And her biggest weakness is her need to be strong. And like, that's a big, a lot of people are like, well, that's not a weakness, it's a strength. But when you're trying to emotionally understand others, it's hard because you aren't able to understand that sympathy and that empathy. And so that I kind of like sprinkled that piece of myself into Irene, and I've sprinkled a few little pieces into Leather. And then Reagan, like, I've always wanted to open a bookstore. I thought it would be so cool, so fun. Will I do it? Probably not. I'll live vicariously through others. But I start by building my FMCs. We'll get back to the main point here is I start by building my FMCs, and then who do I want to surround her? And it's usually the MMCs are never really based on real life. It's usually like I'll read a book and I'm like, oh, I love that characteristic from this character. Oh, I love that characteristic from that character. Or I'll be sitting and I'll be thinking, she needs somebody that is not going to roll with the punches, that is not going to just let her walk all over them like a doormat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll pull like character arcs for that. And then sometimes just good old Google. I'm like, what are some good, strong character types?
I love that.
And so I just kind of pick and choose who I want them to be and who, like if I were in that FMC's shoes, who would I want to be by my side? If I'm going through this struggle, what would I want out of, these people that are supposed to be my support system? And so, yeah,
I love
long way
that.
around that answer, but
That's awesome though. And yeah, like when you're talking about how you're like strong female characters, I loved within Leather Dreams, like it just opens and Leather's just being a badass. I was like, yeah.
I'm like, I think in the first chapter or two, she's like flaying a man.
Yeah. That was like right at the beginning. And I was like, yes, this chick is someone I can get behind. Like, yeah.
But it also opens the door for vulnerability for her too.
Mm-hmm.
And so, which you read, so you understand.
Yeah.
But again, another weakness is having to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense.
Yeah. So where can you find your books if someone wants to check them out?
So you can find them on Amazon. You can find them on my website, author lexigray.com. Most of my books are all on KU. I just recently started pushing my books over to Ingram for expanded distribution.
Cool.
So I'm hoping to get into a few more bigger bookstores, but for right now, pretty much Amazon, my website. If anybody lives in Alaska, they can go to Beauty in the Books, which is in Anchorage. Yeah, they're so sweet. And those girls, oh my gosh, they're amazing. I don't think I have any other places right now. I think they're exclusively the only bookstore that sells my books, actually.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like a fun, like exclusively here.
Only here.
Yeah.
Not
You
quite
have to
big
come
enough
to
for that
Alaska.
yet. But I was the reason for the tourist increase.
Yes, exactly. There you go.
The whole 5 people.
So speaking of finding your books, and you were just at the Vancouver book signing, are you going to be at any other events coming up?
Oh, yeah. So I am, let's see. So July, I will be at Romanticon in Trumbull, Connecticut.
Cool.
In August, I will be at Romantically Yours in Kissimmee, Florida. And then in September, I have 2 events in September that are like back to back. I have Tennessee LitCon, which is in Kingsport, Tennessee. And then Smut Lovers in Orlando, which is the big convention.
Mm-hmm.
And then next year, I have 4 events so far. I know one for sure in California in June. It's Raven's Spicy Reads.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, Flirty in Kansas in February too. And then Smut Lovers 2026 also.
Did I see, are you at Kink and Ink? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Kink and Ink. Yes.
Because we're going to be at that one too. And I think when I was looking at the list, I was like, I know this person. Yeah.
Yes. Kink and Ink.
Yeah, cool. That's a lot of travel, and especially coming from Alaska.
Yeah, it's a minimum. So like we went to Portland to go into Vancouver because it's like 20 minutes away. It's like a 4.5, 5-hour flight. So it's not terrible. I usually get the midnight flights, so I sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just pop my headphones on. I have like a inflatable
The little like
pillow. Yep.
neck thingy.
Yep. I'm out.
I usually can't sleep on planes, but that's how I know if I'm tired is if I fall asleep on a plane. I'm like, oh, okay.
No. Like the micro vibrations of the plane, the white noise. I'm out. Like a light. I'm like, if something's going on, they'll let me know.
Yep. They'll wake you up. Yeah.
They'll wake me up.
I love to fly. I'm not a nervous flyer. I don't sleep well normally. Fair. So then if I'm like, I'm on a plane and my legs are all like up here in my face, there's
Fair.
no space.
See,
It's just not.
I'm a big Twilight fan. So I have a specific blanket that I fly with, and it's an Edward Cullen blanket. If I don't have it, I cannot sleep.
That's
So
amazing.
It's like my comfort blanket, and so I've had it since I was like 14, and so I'll cover it, and I'm like, gone.
I was going to ask if you were Team Edward or Team Jacob, but
Edward.
Edward all the way. Me too.
All the way. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know when people are they're like, but hear me out with Jacob. And I'm like, nah.
No.
No. Absolutely not.
I'll hear you out, but I'll let you know your opinions are not going to change mine.
Exactly.
He is some nice man meat, but have you seen Edward?
Yeah. Hello.
God.
Okay. So anyway, after we're like, oh, Edward. What is your advice for somebody who is thinking about writing their first book?
Oh, man. I mean, taking the time to understand what you want to write about and who you want to become. A lot of people, and from my 2 official years of writing, is people just kind of jump in before they know who they are as a writer, and then they slowly morph. And I think that's awesome. But for consistency for your readers, I think it's so important to know what you want to write about, who you want to present yourself as. It's one thing to change your logo. It's one thing to decide you want to get a website. But it's a whole other thing if you decide, if you want to write YA. And then you're like, man, but I really want the spicy scenes. You would have to completely change yourself because you can't mesh the two. Mm-hmm. Well, you could, but it would create a big uproar. Huge uproar. But just knowing who you want to be when you want to write, and then just fucking do it. Get on it. Write. Just rough draft it. Have a friend read it. Just do it. Get your words on paper. Figure out what you want to write about and write it.
That's awesome.
You can't let people stop you from wanting to write. I mean, I've had people tell me that's stupid, that you're not going to make money. They're like, that's just voices in your head talking. Like, at least my voices now have a purpose.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And it doesn't make me a lot of money. That's right. That's fine. But I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it because I love what I do. I love meeting new people. I love hearing about people's stories and what brought them to reading my stuff. And just fucking do it.
I love it. That's a great, great answer. I love it. And
Thanks.
I do you're welcome. I like that insight about figuring out your voice and who you are, because that is a really good point. And that does make a difference too.
It does. And it's so hard, especially if you're months in and you've already, let's say you've published a book already and you're like, I just didn't enjoy writing that. Well, you're already putting that out there. You're already that first book establishes kind of who you are. And I'm definitely not the first author that's like, my first book sucks. It's not, I actually really love my first book, but it's usually not the one I'm immediately like, read that one. No. Usually your first book is trying to figure out who you want to be in this world and expanding from that. But if you want to write about vampires, but you publish about werewolves, people are going to be like, well, I thought you were going to do this. And so I started following you because and so it creates a lot of confusion. And so figuring out who you want to be, it's like telling our kids, like, who do you want to be when you grow up? Mm-hmm. Who do you want to be when you're a writer? Who do you want to be attracted to your books? Who's going to be your audience? What are you thinking about when you're writing these books? Like, I'm a big overthinker, and so maybe that's a lot too. But when I put out my first book, I was like, I didn't really like this, or this about it. And so I went back and I revamped. But I have had author friends who were just like, I really don't like what I started writing about. So they have only 2 or 3 books under one name and then 15 under the other.
Yeah.
Because they want to detach. And then people are like, well, there's no more from this person. I really love their writing. And so I do think be really selfish with what you put in the world, because people are totally, unfortunately, going to judge you for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so just being cognizant that, like, don't give a fuck what people think about you first and foremost. Their opinion does not matter, but it does, because they're the people consuming they're consuming your stuff. And so just always having in your head, who do you want to be? Who do you want to flourish into when you're writing?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll forever just tell people, just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Like, don't let people stop you. I'm like,
Right.
you want to write? Write.
Do what makes you happy, man.
Exactly.
You know?
I'm like, and who am I to tell you what to do? I'm
Yeah.
like, if you want to write, I will help you. If you need inspo, if you need somebody to be like, critique this, if you need somebody to bounce ideas off of, I tell all my author buddies, like, my DMs are open. If you need help, if you need to figure out, like, hey, I need a character flaw, and I was like, which one do you want? like, if you need something, bounce it, but you just got to do it first.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I love it. Can you kind of walk us through your writing process?
Of course. So my writing process is slightly intricate, I will admit. I like to say I'm a pantser, and I usually am, but I'm also very much a planner. I have to know what I want to write about, who I want to write about, what is this person's tics, like what makes their teeth grind. And so I have to build my characters first. And so once I've established who I want them to be, then I kind of establish the plot around them. What do I want them to do? What do I want them to, like, when they start the book to the end, how do I want them to change? How do I want the character development? And a lot of times, I'll be so honest, they never, ever, ever, ever follow what I told them to do. Ever. Usually they're like, you're dumb. We're going to do this instead. And usually I'm like, fair. I got it. No worries. Like, I'm just here for you. I'm your humble servant.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to at least have a plan on what I want to do. I like to have, like, when I go in, how many words would I like to meet, or how many words would I like to start? But for the most part, I go in really, like, detailed and down to the point. Hold on, I'll show you.
Okay.
We'll do Black Vipers, because that is Leather Dreams. So my PA and I realized that I struggle without detail. Like, I have to know what makes this person tick. And so I have, like, my book. So this is Black Vipers. And then on the inside, it has every single character, who they will be, and their title.
That's awesome.
And then each book and who is going to be in that book. And then, like, a list of the side characters as they come along. Those are attempted release dates. And then, like who's in a writing group. Because in certain books, you'll have, like, the cliques.
Mm-hmm.
Like Prez, Tornado, Fisher, like, they're all one group.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they expand. And so you have your sergeant at arms. Who rides with the sergeant? Who rides with your road captain? What is your tail gunner doing? And so, like, it details all this. Like, what guns are they going to use in the book? And then...
That's awesome. That's, like, what I would do. I'm
Oh, yeah.
So OCD. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have your actual characters. So this is for Reckless Devotion. And so it talks about, like, Crow, for example. You've got age, where her name comes from, what she does, height, hair, like, does she have tattoos? She's afraid of commitment. Why is she afraid of commitment? What kind of piercings does she have? Who is she in relation to with the club? Like, it's very detailed.
that's awesome.
Because I know if I don't do that, I'll be like, shit. And then I have to go find the other book that I wrote her, like,
Yeah.
starting type in.
Do you have little, like, where you cross-reference, like, first mentioned in this book, but then they're also going to be in this book and this book?
Yes. I don't know if it's
Yay.
in, but Black Vipers is kind of like our head to the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
Everything kind of surrounds around the Black Vipers, which is this one. And then that's like Leather Dreams and Reckless Devotion. And then you have the Dirty Sinners MC, which is the Red Room, and it's going to go by color. And then Blood Reaper series, which is Crimson Catacombs, and then Viridian Vault, which in Crimson Catacombs, the book has like, this person was here, Glow helped here, Fisher helped here. And it's just like one like crisscross down the line. My PA is like, you're fucking nuts. And I was like, yeah, sorry. My bad.
So I really enjoyed in Leather Dreams, like the male scenes. Like I liked those the best. I always like the male scenes, but sometimes I feel like they're, I don't want to say forced, but they don't seem like authentic, you know?
Yeah.
And I really liked how you wrote it because all these dudes are like super tough dudes, you know? And I thought it was handled really well. Did you think, I want to write some reverse sexuality in here? Or did it just kind of happen? Or like, how did that come about?
I knew I wanted some diversity. I wanted to have like, because I love to read it also, but in my head, I can't write it if I know there's not like an F somewhere in somewhere. And so they have a special connection. And I wanted something to give them like almost like tape that keeps them all together and the glue that kind of shoves them all together. And the By Awakening by Prez was very much like sudden, very sudden. It was very much me like, well, what if I'm like, because he's really not interested in men, but he is interested in Knuckles.
Right.
He didn't really, and a little bit in Tornado, like, but he really doesn't see them that way besides Knuckles. And so my PA and I kind of went back and forth, and she's like, well, you could make him like Pan because he loves Knuckles for who he is. And then the sexual attraction comes later. And I was like, that's actually a really good idea. And so I wanted them to have that deeper level connection, and it just kind of molded to that way.
Yeah.
And then Knuckles has always been bi. He was very open about it. I knew I wanted him to be bi. He's a very much like, I love everybody unless you fuck me over. And then I hate you.
And then, yes, exactly.
He's very golden retriever, very happy. And so like loves everybody. Opposite of Prez, who was like, I fucking hate all y'all.
Right. Yeah.
Except you two.
Yep. Exactly.
And then my PA and I kind of went back and forth, and I was like, I really want a little bit deeper. And she's like, well, here's what we could do. And I was like, I really love that. And then so I made him pansexual and extremely interested in his best friends.
Yeah.
And then Tornado just flew in like a little tornado.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just ripping shit up. So I was reading something somewhere where they were talking about like scenes tend to be, it seems like they're written for like women to read instead of like, you know, for dudes. And I really like how you said about how you really thought about that and made them actual people and had actual thoughts and feelings. And it seemed way more authentic than just like, ooh, two dudes would be hot, you know?
Two dudes banging tip to tip, rock on.
Yeah, exactly. Although that would be kind of funny.
You know? I'm like, I've read it.
Yep.
Nice little spicy palate cleanser.
Okay. Are you ready to do our naughty blush questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. So I'm going to start out with, since we have our little beverages here, thinking along the lines of adult beverages on hand. Ooh, we should do like a never have I ever. That would be fun.
Ooh, oh gosh, I haven't. Okay.
I haven't either, but I do have a couple regular questions too. What is, if you remember, I don't think I can answer this question because I never remember. What's the craziest or funniest thing that you remember doing or having had happen to you after having like a whole bottle of wine or a whole bunch of your like rum drinks or whatever?
God. So nothing crazy. I guess it kind of was. But so for my 22nd birthday, I believe, my husband's friends came into town to celebrate my birthday. And I'm allergic to gluten, like significantly.
I have celiac disease. Do you have celiac?
Yay!
Yay! I mean, like, that's not something to
Not
yay.
great,
It's super
but
obnoxious, but
it's awful.
yeah.
And so I, at the time, was still fairly new with my diagnoses. I think I was like 4 years in. I didn't really take it seriously. And because I really didn't feel like the effects of it.
Oh, I get so sick.
I do now.
Yeah.
And so I have a really bad gluten allergy.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I wasn't taking it seriously. And we were doing shots, like night on the town. They were determined to get me intoxicated. And so they were buying them. I was drinking them. And all of a sudden, my husband was just like, I don't think these are gluten-free, honey. And I was like, don't care. And he's like,
No.
I think you should. Because I can only have rum and clear vodka. That's it. And, or at least those are my two safe options.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think you should really stop. And I was like, fine. But he didn't tell the guys to stop ordering the amber liquids and just told me. And so I was drinking what they gave me.
You're just like, especially that's the rule, right? Like, it's your birthday. Someone buys a shot for you. You got to do it.
Exactly. You're drinking it.
Mm-hmm.
And so surprisingly wasn't blackout, but I was pretty close. And so I remember, like, I could barely stand up. I, like, fell on the ground in the parking garage and just was, like, laughing my ass off. Well, the next day, my stomach was hurting so bad.
Oh, no.
And I actually ended up in the ER, and it wasn't from alcohol poisoning. It was actually from food poisoning from the gluten. And from that moment on, I was like, I should probably start taking this seriously.
Probably, yeah, maybe.
Turns out it wasn't alcohol. It was food. And I was like,
That's
fuck.
crazy. But you're also like, look at me. I can hold my liquor like a champ.
Literally, I had like easily 20 shots. And I'm like,
oh my God.
It was a lot.
That's awesome. Also, like when you're 22, I feel like you can like.
Invincible.
Yeah. And you wake up the next day and you're like, I'm fine.
Oh, yeah. I surprisingly did not have a hangover.
So, yeah, I mean, it was my 21st birthday. Your story made me remember this because I'm always like, I don't know. So I lived with 4 boys for 2 years in college because why not? This is the beginning of a romance novel, but my life did not
turn that way.
Wait a minute. I did make out with 2 of them.
Oh, yes, queen. Slay.
And then there were 2 other friends that were like always around, 2 other guy friends, and I made out with one of them and banged the other one.
Yes, score.
So okay, maybe it is like a romance novel.
It could have been.
It could have been. Anyway, so they were all in a band. These 4 boys I lived with were in a band, and they had a gig at a pretty well-known like downtown bar. And so we're like, let's go there for my birthday, obviously, because they're playing. And then I had a party the next day or something. And I was just, same thing, like people buying shots for you and stuff. And so I was pretty drunk. And my birthday's in February. And then all of a sudden the guy's like, you need to leave. One of the bouncers or whatever. And I was like, why? Because I was drunk, but not like a belligerent.
Yeah.
And he's like, for giving alcohol to a minor. And I said, who? Because I really didn't know. And I think he thought I was being a dick.
Yeah.
And it was one of our friends who would come with us. And he was a year younger than me. And I had no idea. Like, he was a big, like, manly man, And I was like, I literally did not know. He had taken like a sip of my drink. And that was it.
Yeah.
And so the guy like didn't even answer me because I was like, who? And he thought I was being a dick. And so he just grabbed me and pushed me outside. And I had a spaghetti strap dress on, and it's February in Michigan.
Oh,
yeah. And one of my girlfriends came out with me. She's like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, no. And then the dude that I ended up banging like a year later, he went and found my coat because it was back behind stage, like with the guys' stuff.
Yeah.
And he got my coat for me, which was nice. And then the 3 of us walked home like 2 miles. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had like 5-inch stripper shoes on.
Oh,
And
Oh,
it was
no.
like the sidewalks were all icy and everything. And I fell down so many times. Like I still have scars on my knees and one on my ankle from my 21st birthday. And like we got home and it was just like blood and mud from my knees down, like just awful. And
no.
like my girlfriend got me, like we had a detachable shower head, so she sat me on the side of the tub and like cleaned me up and stuff, which was really nice. And that dude, he's like, "We're burning those shoes," and I was like, "No, they're so cool. You can't,
Not the stripper shoes.
not my shoes." Yeah, so that was my story. It was,
I love that.
that was good. Good, I guess. Okay. It seems like you have some real life experience with BDSM since you write like you know what you're talking about.
Actually, not really.
Oh,
I
just do your research.
I research a lot. I do enjoy the dynamic play. Like my husband and I do enjoy dynamics, but not to the extent that I've like written about.
Mhm.
And I've got a slew of like own your kinks. Like I've got 5 or 6 books on like BDSM dynamics, and like I immerse myself in reading them to make sure that like I'm not
Mhm.
like coming out of it looking like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I was really impressed. Like I was like, she's got to have real experience. And I tell that to people who are looking to get into the lifestyle and stuff. I'm like, you read some books. Like,
Yes.
like real books, not not dark romance books.
No.
Although, I mean, that's always
read.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Lexi Gray, 90% of
Yeah,
the time, like
exactly.
safe.
Safe.
But oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you just I just Googled like some books and they were like, these are the best ones, because I really want to make sure that what I'm putting out in the world is true, and I'm not like creating more fiction than how do I say that? Like obviously it's fiction, but I don't want it to be unsafe to the point where people are thinking that's like the normal dynamic.
Yes,
'Cause,
exactly.
I mean, I love BDSM. I've always loved the dynamic of BDSM. Like, I've always loved the story and the background and the control and like it's very popular for my OCD brain because there's a lot of moving parts that I can control safely.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so I make sure to really, really do my research.
I love that.
I go on forums. I'm subscribed to certain newsletters. I've read books.
Are you on FetLife?
I'm on FetLife. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on all sorts of different ones just so that I can ensure that I'm not like putting bullshit out there.
Yeah.
And
I love
dynamics change, policies change, how people use certain implements change. Like there's new knots and new rigging ways, and like I think it's really important to stay up to beat on what's new too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really love that. So that wasn't a naughty question. I was just like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but what is the craziest or most advanced, whatever, sexual position that you've tried and accomplished, or maybe tried and hilariously failed?
This is gonna sound so stupid. So
I'm so excited.
we are not super adventurous. Like we do, like there's impact. We do some temperature, like, but not to the extent that I write about at all. Like not even close to what's in Crimson Catacombs. And so I have really bad knees. Like I've had 2 knee surgeries. I have a really bad back, really bad shoulders, really bad knees. Me
too.
And my husband was like, I really want to try a new position. And because we use the same 3, like,
hey, tried and true though, you know?
Yeah. I'm like on top, missionary, and then doggy. And then there's different bouts of missionary too.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And so he's like, I really want to try reverse cowgirl. And I looked at him, I was like, there's like more to it than just like hop on, ho. Like,
right.
I just want to
and
make
turn
sure.
around. Like,
Yeah. And he was like, well, I wanted to give it a try. And I was like, sounds good. So what did I do? I researched. I was like, how am I even going to accomplish this? And so I researched it, and I fell like right on top of him. And he was like, if you didn't want to do it, you could have just told me. And I was like, I'm trying.
You're like, let me get my notes out here.
Right? Like, let me pull up the website again. Like, she did it like that.
This is by step instructions.
Exactly. I'm like, but she said. And he's like, if you didn't want to do it, you could have just said that. And I was like, I tried.
You're like, no, I'm trying. I'm really trying.
I
Oh my
tried.
God. That's hilarious.
And like I'm not a skinny mini. Like, I've got a really, like, I got a big butt. And when it comes down hard. And I wasn't even that high up, but I just like boom right into his stomach.
Oh man.
And I felt like I was between mortified and couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
And he took it in stride. He's like, next time just say you don't want to be on top. And I was like, first of all, I don't. I hate it. And second of all, I tried.
Like, yeah. Like, do you think I would be like, do you think this is really how I would tell you that I don't want to do it by just like falling on you?
Just crushing you? Let me just cut your airways off real quick. Nice little subtle
No
hint.
big. It's just subtle. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Oops.
Okay. So I want to find some never have I ever, but I also have this other question that I ask a lot of people because I just think it's fun. Your first celebrity crush.
Oh. This kind of rounds back to Twilight. So
I wondered if it would be.
it's ridiculous, but not the point. So I was in elementary school when I started reading Twilight. And when it first came out in movies, like I've got boxes of memorabilia. And I just remember thinking that Robert Pattinson was like the hottest man to walk Earth.
I still think he's hot.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all my other friends were like, well, Channing Tatum. And I was like, Robert Pattinson. Like, that man is so fine.
I love him. And I also think he's an amazing actor. And like
He is.
He's very underrated because he got the big breakthrough in Twilight or whatever. And I'm
I just like I think it's like Water for Elephants is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? I love
with Reese Witherspoon, the circus one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've watched a ton of his stuff. And like, he's so diverse, and I just was so sad that he never got to the same level with anything else that he did with Twilight.
Yeah.
But it works because in my heart, he will forever and always be Edward Cullen.
Yeah.
But like Robert Pattinson.
Oh my God, I love him. Have you seen The Lighthouse?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's so good.
He's so good in everything. Like
He is.
And I'm going to talk about him in Batman because I love Batman. I bring up Batman almost every episode also. But he was so good in that too. Like, Michael Keaton is Batman, you know?
Yeah.
Christian Bale did all right, except for his stupid Batman voice. But the rest of the time, like him as Bruce Wayne, he was good as Bruce Wayne.
He was.
Yeah. Val Kilmer, I love Val Kilmer, but he wasn't Batman. And George Clooney and
Yeah, no way.
Affleck, I'm like, keep Batman's name out of Affleck's mouth. Like, no.
He should not. I don't know how he got cast but like, that was terrible judgment call.
So
terrible
bad.
Judgment call.
And I like refuse to acknowledge it's even there, you know? And then,
outlawed.
yeah. So it's like, for me, it's like Michael Keaton Batman, our Pat's Batman. Like, it's so good. He did so good.
He did so good.
He made me very happy.
Robert Pattinson is just chef's kiss.
Yes, I love him.
That man, he's like hall pass.
Yeah.
He would be my hall pass. If she just came up and he's like, you, and I'd be like, that's me. Sorry, honey. Just, I'll come back later.
Yep. Just, bye.
I'll be back. Like, I love you, but him forever.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Talk about blushing. Woohoo.
Okay. Do you want to do some of these never have I evers?
Yes.
Okay. And then what do we do? If you have done it, you take a drink?
Yes.
Okay. Never have I ever sent a bold I miss you message late at night.
Definitely have. Oops.
Yeah.
Never have I ever sent my partner a spicy pic while they were at work.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have to drink this whole glass, I think.
You're just
if
like...
it was for the amount of times that it's happened. Never have I ever made out in public.
Ooh. Yep. Never have I ever had a sexual encounter in public.
Ooh. This is amazing.
We're gonna get drunk. Oh, that's good.
Never have I ever worn a complete set of lingerie.
Oh. Never have I ever hooked up with someone I just met.
Oh. This is the best game of this ever. Never have I ever had a crush on someone that a friend was dating.
I remember being so jealous too. Never have I ever faked an orgasm.
Oh, this is a good one for books. Never have I ever listened to audio erotica.
Chug. It's so good.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
I just recently listened to a book and like the sex scenes, like when it came to the sex scenes, I would get like goosebumps and I'm like, and I listen to audiobooks usually in my car because I have like a 45-minute commute.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'll sit like white knuckling the steering wheel and I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh. And like she was like, and I was like, oh.
Oh, that's like Brandon, who does the show with me. Have you heard any of the stuff that she does? Like her sex noises are like, I also do audiobook prepping and proofing. So when they record their stuff, I listen through the whole thing to make sure everybody's saying all the things right. And so like, I sit there and listen to her make sex noises for like 4 hours. And I'm just like, Brandon, it sounds like I'm like,
You're like videoing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I've narrated a few books also, and I just like, it's so funny just hearing myself make the sex noises, and I can't imagine having to proofread it for somebody that you know, and you're like, you dirty whore.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, I know what you sound like, girl. Yeah,
And when you tell him that you did it, I know you faking. I think my favorite male audiobook narrator will forever and always be Sebastian York.
Oh, he's great.
So good. His voice is just like gravel. And especially when he's like narrates a sex scene, I just like, I get my little fan and I'm like, everything's okay down here. Like, we're all good. We are not sliding off our chair.
That's amazing. That like, yeah, I love how he has like the gravelly voice, but it's not like an affected gravelly voice. You know how like some people sound like they're trying too hard? Like he's just like just.
Yeah. He's got that like natural snarl.
Yeah.
In his voice. Oh, so good.
So good.
So good.
I love, I bring him up all the time. Penny and I both. We love Oscar Reyes.
He's good.
Yeah, he did. We listened to him the first time in Salt Kiss, and we were just like, "Who's that? Who's that guy?"
That one's on my TBR. I love his voice though.
Mm-hmm. I do
Like
too.
I just there are
Salt Kiss
certain
is
ones
so good too.
where I'm just like, that is, I don't care what you read, like what you narrate, I will listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Sebastian York is I will listen to
Yeah.
anything you put out.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a garbage book, like you make it sound great.
Yeah, there's been a few of that with like my narrator friends that like I'm like, this book is not that good, but they make it sound like
So good.
they add so much to it that it's like, oh yeah, this is a really great book.
Yeah.
It's testament to like, the narrators and all the things that they do for sure.
Yeah. Well, and like in our heads, like some people read literally monotone. And so without that like additional oomph, you don't get that up and down. You don't get that dynamic. And then you put it into words and you're just like, whoo,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah.
So good.
That was a huge aside, but it was
Let's see
great.
here. Never have I ever gone skinny dipping with someone.
Oh, yeah.
We should do I have ever. That'd probably be less.
But it's fun. We're having our drinks. Okay. Never have I ever hooked up with someone I had no intention of ever seeing again.
Especially when it's a bad play.
Okay. All right. Let's do you want to do like one more question each? Okay. Oh, I'm out of my drink.
I know. I'm like,
We can pretend. Never have I ever hooked up with someone I met while traveling.
I don't think I have. I don't think I have.
I finally got one that was
You
like
did.
me and not you. Yay. Okay, one more for you.
Never have I ever faked an attraction to get something that I wanted.
Oh my God. I need an entire drink for that one.
Just slurp on my ice real quick.
Slurp.
It's as bad as moist.
I know. Oh, so you've narrated some books, right?
Like,
Well, I was wondering because you have like, it looks like a legit setup there. And so I was like, does she narrate or what?
I do. And actually, I've been told I'm really good, but I don't like
Your voice is great.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So I'll do a small like version of this that I do with the narrators. Can you do a couple like, I'll give you some words.
Okay.
Unsexy words and make them sound sexy.
Oh.
What? Montgomery's tubercles?
What?
I don't know. What is the? Oh my gosh. Montgomery's tubercles are small raised bumps located on the areola.
Oh, I know what those
like-
are. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, these. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Also, why
Okay.
are they named after Montgomery?
I know. Like, what
What about like Ashley?
Ashley's tubercles?
Exactly.
Or like something more like Vivian or something, you know, like,
Oh, yes.
you know.
Vivacious tubercles. Could you imagine?
Yes. I like that we're like. Okay, let me see if I can find some. Oh, speculum. Make speculum sound hot. And if you can put it in a sentence, it's even better.
Okay. Let's see if I can do this. And the doctor had come closer to me with his speculum raised. Are you ready for your exam? He wenches the speculum, cold as ice, and just shoves it. Ah! I say, unprepared.
That was awesome.
Thanks.
Yes. I mean, like, you're welcome. I'm just like, it's so good.
I'm like, I can't make a word sound sexy, but I can like give it like a sexy,
Yeah, like scene and everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
improv. I'm gonna hear this later and be like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was so good.
Thanks.
Let's see. Oh, yogurt.
Ooh, okay. And he takes the spoon, pushing it my way. You just want some yogurt on your tongue. The creamy, rich, strawberry flavor of the yogurt saturates my taste buds as we lock eyes, staring at one another. That's all I can think of right now.
That's amazing, though, that you can come up with all of that just like on the spot. I love it. Oh, I want to keep doing this because I love how well you're like coming up with all these things. It's amazing. Oh my God. Yes. Somebody said panties. I hate the word panties. I hate it. And I talked about this with another one of the narrators, and I was like, I'm always like panties. And
Panties.
like, yeah. And I don't know if it's because I know it comes from like pantaloons. And so I'm just like, meh.
Probably.
I'm like, it's undies. Come on. But
Undies,
like, panties
underwear.
always sounds like so like.
High and mighty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Do a panties.
Panties. And I stand in front of him, just my panties, my nipples hard, my body taut. His eyes drag over my body as if we were one. Take 'em off. You mean these? I say, putting my finger under the band of my panties and snapping against my thigh.
Damn, girl. I can't. You're so good.
Thank you.
I want you to now write a book and put all of those words
Easy.
into it, but make them hot.
Make them hot. Got it.
Yeah.
My PA is going to be like, what the fuck?
What is happening right now? Yeah. Okay. I have one more for you, and then we should probably wrap it up. Okay. Dank.
Dank. Great. Oh God, it's been so long since I feel so dumb. I'm like, what does that even mean?
And I always associate it with like people smoking pot, and I was like, man, that smells dank.
That's what like a really bad scent.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm thinking here. Let's see.
Kind of like a wet smell.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. We walk into the bar, and I realize that everything is just not it. The man next to me inhales, and then he exhales. Oh, he says, I fucking love that dank smell. And I turn to him, and I say, what the fuck?
That was perfect.
I mean, I'm like, ew.
Ew. Ew.
L. As if.
Ah, that was amazing. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on. This was a delight. I had a great time with you.
Yes, I had a blast. Honestly, I could probably talk to you for hours. So
I know. I feel like that too.
like I'll just keep yapping.
I know. But we'll see you at Kink and Ink. So we'll get to hang out for real, which will be awesome.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah. So thank you so much again. And we will talk to you soon.
Yes, awesome.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.